I want to first start off with asking, are these balloons a threat?
I would say the on the face of it, these balloons don't appear like a major threat as long as they don't crash. But we've seen before in Taiwan that balloons have landed and crash landed on islands, on the offshore islands. So when you look at a balloon, you don't think it's small, it's not going to be a threat. But if they're meteorological in nature, why are they all generally flying over military installations? It seems like a coincidence that the weather over Taiwan, over a military site, is so interesting compared to everywhere else in Taiwan that they're not a threat. So I don't necessarily believe that all of them are meteorological in nature. Some of them may be, but it's very clear that these balloons are being sent to surveil key sites across Taiwan. And today they're not a threat, but in the long term, that does pose a national security threat to Taiwan if all of their military installations are being monitored through the air via these balloons.
Now, Taiwan's military has said that these balloons have been operating around Taiwan for a while, but it's only until recently that the military started reporting on them. Why do you think that is?
While they may have existed or been flying before, our guess is that come December, about a month before the election, they started coming much more frequently. And I think the increase in frequency and number was what sparked the change from we're just going to ignore or not report this unless someone catches one crash landing and it goes on the news in Taiwan to, all right, this is now a new threat or part of the air defense identification zone strategy that Taiwan or the People's Republic of China has implemented against Taiwan. So it is a little weird that yes, these were started to be reported about a month before the election, and then we start seeing a lot of them in January, and they've continued throughout. So it does seem like one, it was an election move by China to surveil or do a new lower level threat. Because if you don't fly fighter jets as frequently, let's say, and it's more balloons, it's harder for Taiwan to complain about a balloon than a massive military drill over or around Taiwan. So the balloons were kind of smart in that respect, where you're getting to see things in Taiwan in a lower threshold of a threat than manned aircraft.
Is there a concern that these balloons could be gathering intelligence? Some of the flight paths we see them flying close to military bases.
Yeah, and I think comparing it to the example from the United States last year, where it was a much bigger payload entity on the balloon, and it was clear that it could be maneuvered. And the U.S. government did come out later and say yes, it was able to collect signals intelligence and then transmit it back using the American infrastructure. So um, while these balloons over Taiwan may be smaller, the fact that the United States has been able to say yes, they were not just meteorological in nature, they did have advanced capabilities, though it was much bigger than the ones over Taiwan. So I think eventually, hopefully, we'll find out if one of them falls out of the sky or gets shot down. There'll be a lot. It'll be a lot more clear what these balloons are doing.